All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am Ethan King, a 10-year member of EO Atlanta and one of your committee members for EO Nerve 2025 Amped Up. We're going to be in Atlantic City. We're going to have an amazing time. I'm here with one of our workshop presenters, Jonathan Domsky. And ladies and gentlemen, EOers, entrepreneurial visionaries, get ready for the Yoda himself. Jonathan Domsky, he's a master at helping entrepreneurs untangle the knots in their work and personal lives, transforming chaos into a life and business that feels effortless, meaningful, and joyous. At just 24, Jonathan co founded Kidorable, a global brand that brought fun and practicality to children's accessories, sold in 5,000 stores across 20 countries, featured in People magazine and on the Today Show. But that wasn't enough for this personal growth athlete. Having read over 3,000 books on psychology, business, philosophy, and spirituality, Jonathan now focuses on his true passion, coaching entrepreneurs to achieve greatness. So, whether you're feeling stuck or just ready to take your life to the next level, Jonathan will show you how to simplify, amplify, and reimagine what's possible. So, please join me in welcoming the entrepreneurs Yoda himself, Jonathan Domsky. How you doing, Jonathan?
I'm doing pretty great. There's nowhere else I'd rather be than right here with you, Ethan.
All right. Well, I'm super excited to hear more about your session. So, if you could tell our fellow EO members here, give us a sneak peek of what to expect at your session during EO Nerve 2025.
Yes, my session is a live workshop on how to find and protect your zone of genius. Your zone of genius is the work that doesn't feel like work. It is naturally joyful and energizing. It creates effortless abundance for yourself and all those around you. Too many successful people spend time in their zone of incompetence, the things that we're not really great at and that drain our energy, that we don't really love. One step up is our zone of competence. We're good enough at it. We might even like it, but there's a million people who could do it better than us. The trap for most successful people is your zone of excellence. You're really good at it. You might even love it. You're paid for it. You're praised for it. It's essential work that needs to be done, but it's a trap because every minute that you spend in your zone of excellence crowds out time that could be spent in your zone of genius, the work that only you can do in your company. And during our 90-minute workshop, we will help you identify where you spend your time in each of those zones: incompetence, competence, excellence, and genius. Help discover what is your genius and then how to protect it. Most people spend less than 5 hours a week in their zone of genius, but it's possible to spend 30, 40 hours a week in that zone where the more you do it, the more energized you feel. Instead of feeling tired at the end of the day, just feeling at the end of the day, yes, this was a fantastic day. I was doing what I was born to do. And that's what we're going to do during our time together.
Awesome. That sounds so exciting and definitely seems like a topic that entrepreneurs need to lean into. I know I need to lean into it for myself because I know that it feels like to spend time in your zone of genius, but I don't spend enough time there. So I need to make
Yeah.
sure I sign up for your session. So, what are three things? Give us three takeaways that every entrepreneur should do right now regarding your topic.
Sure. The first is to commit to living a life of full engagement, to
Okay.
not be willing to settle for what you might merely love and be great at. Because the difference, Ethan, between doing what you were born for versus what you merely love and are great at, it's night and day. It's well-being in a whole nother dimension. The next thing, the best preparation for finding your genius is to sign up for my pre-event amped up coaching for VIP ticket holders. How
Yeah.
to find and live your personal why.
Okay.
Your why is the intersection of how you feel compelled to show up in the world, how you feel compelled to show up in the world and contribute, because that's who you are, and that's what you do at home, and that's what you do at work, and that's what you do with your friends. The intersection of that contribution with the impact that you seek, that just makes everything feel it's the way it should be.
Mm.
When we live our lives out of alignment with our purpose, even if we're doing something we love, even if we're doing something that we're great at, it just feels empty. When you And when you live your life in alignment with your purpose, it just makes you feel, yes, this is what life's supposed to be like. Your why points a finger in the direction of your what. What should I devote my life to? Anyone who shows up to the Zone of Genius workshop will end with real clarity on where they should be spending their time in order to have just joy, effortless experience, even with a high degree of intense activity and abundance. But it's a backward-looking exercise. It is, what have you stumbled upon in your first few decades of life that happened to light you up, that you happen to be great at? But the real electrifying question, which is only possible if you've already found your purpose, already found your why, is what are the genius skills? What are the abilities that power those genius activities? So what we're doing right now, this is my genius. I help people find what they were born for. But what are the skills that allow me to do that? Well, I'm a great listener. I see patterns, I see possibilities, stuff like that. The real electrifying question is what could you devote your life to that leverages your genius skills in service of your purpose? What could you devote your life to that leverages your genius skills in service of your purpose? That's what you were born for. And that's what I love to do for my participants and clients. Other things you could do just to make the most of the workshop, start thinking about how you spend your time in a regular week. What are all the productive activities that you spend in a regular work week, more than 15 or 20 minutes a week? And start thinking, is this my zone of excellence? Is this my genius? Is this my zone of incompetence? Is this my zone of competence? What have you done in the past that lights you up? Even if you don't do it very much anymore. What do you do over the course of a year, even if it's just for a few minutes, that brings the most value and abundance? Start thinking about those things, and we'll be able to go farther during our short time together.
That's awesome. So how did you get into this? I mean, you built an amazing business with Kidorable all across the world, across 20 countries, 5,000 stores. So, but how did you go from that to this zone of genius?
Yeah. Well, I was very much an accidental entrepreneur.
Mhm.
Both my parents were professionals. I was a junior in college before I knew that there were a million things to do in the world and that being a doctor and lawyer were only two of them. But the week that I graduated from college, I was on a plane with a one-way ticket to China. I was expecting that I would have an adventure, and I did. I was expecting that I'd perfect my Chinese. That happened too. I was not expecting, Ethan, that 3 weeks in, I'd meet the woman who I'd be married to for the next 29 years, but that's what happened. And we were used to spending all of our time together, 23 and a half plus hours a day. And when I came back to Chicago and she came to the US for the first time, we wanted to be able to keep doing that. And we wanted to be able to go to China often. And it just seemed like it'd be really hard to do that with a 9 to 5 job and 2 weeks of vacation a year. So we decided to become entrepreneurs. Like I said, I had no background in entrepreneurship, but I'm a reader, I'm a learner. I would talk to anybody who would be willing to teach me. And the company grew. And a couple of years later, I joined YEO. We were young at that time. This was 1997. And EO just taught me everything I know about being an entrepreneur. And Ethan, if you had asked me 20 years ago, am I passionate about my business? I would have told you yes. If you had asked me, does selling fun, practical, unique children's accessories make my heart sing? I would say no, not really. I learned how to become an entrepreneur and an inspiring manager and an efficient administrator and all those things that are required to run a business. But the highlight of my week was, I mean, talking about genius, the highlight of my week was the 10 or so hours that I would spend in meetings. I love meetings. Meetings are where are solved. Meetings are where I
Hmm.
get to coach people to accomplish their goals. It's where people come in confused and frustrated and they leave with clarity and direction. And I designed my entire work life around meetings. I led our daily huddles. I led daily customer service training meetings. I led weekly sales meetings, weekly management accountability meetings, our quarterly strategic planning meetings. Um, we topped out at about 28 employees, a little over $6 million. I had quarterly reviews that lasted 2 hours with every single staff member, helping them achieve their goals inside and outside the business.
Wow.
After a couple decades, the business was pretty highly optimized. I was working from home a couple hours a day, coming to the office once a week for face-to-face meetings, and I was looking for some other way to express my entrepreneurial energies. And it was a single day, January 31st, 2020, right before anyone knew what COVID was. I took a walk at the end of the week to clear my head, just process what had happened that week. I walked from my home to Lake Michigan up to the Northwestern University campus. Ethan, it's a walk that I've taken hundreds of times, but this day, as soon as the water came into view, I felt the ground shift beneath my feet. I was literally unsteady.
Mm,
I needed to sit down, and I just realized in an instant, I can't keep devoting my work life to something that doesn't light me up.
mm,
That I'd love to learn. I'm great at teaching. The world needs people with clarity on who they are and where they're going and how to get there. I was born to be a coach. So I took a 2 hour walk, I cleared my head, came back, talked to my partner about me exiting the business to become a full-time coach. She had been on her own parallel journey, wanting to take more operational involvement in the business. So she took over as president. It is the best decision I've ever made in my life.
nice.
If it was merely work that I was born for, and it is, it would just be a bright spot.
Mm,
But because what I do is I help people have lives that feel more, and in businesses that feel more effortless, meaningful, and joyous. And Ethan, there's been 100 times, especially that first year, where I've been on a Zoom call with a client just like this, talking maybe for the third or fourth time that week about alignment with purpose and values,
mm,
about how to achieve goals and relationships and self-limiting beliefs and removing obstacles and all that stuff. And I would think in the back of my mind, oh, Jonathan, there's that part of your life that's out of alignment. You should do something about that.
mm,
And I did. I used all my own tools. And 100 times I worked out all of my misalignments, all my fears, all of my compulsions. They're all gone. It's the best thing about being a coach. And it's just been the best, even with COVID, everything that's happened in the last 5 years, it's best years of my life.
mm. That's awesome. It's very rare that you hear people say that they love meetings. So that's like the favorite part of their day. I think you're the
Yeah,
first entrepreneur that I've heard say that. But no, that's really awesome. I'm on a similar journey and at a
yeah,
crossroads here. So I feel like this could turn into a personal coaching session.
yeah,
But this isn't about me. This is about you and about our nerve attendees. So I'll have to make sure I attend your session so I can tap into my zone of genius and getting out of the day to day. I've been in my same business for 20 years as well, and it's doing great. But I have other passions at this next chapter in my life. So
yeah.
we'll talk more about that offline.
Well, Ethan, I'll tell you, my purpose is to untangle the clutter obscuring our best, most authentic selves so
Hmm.
that we have a life that feels effortless, meaningful, and joyous. Because those are the measures of success worth having in life. The extent to which when I say effortless, it doesn't mean you're sitting on a beach.
Right.
Just a high degree of intense activity, doing work that matters. But if you're in full alignment with who you are, it should feel effortless. Life should not be a slog. Um, Are you better at navigating life's inevitable ups and downs now than you were a year ago? Are you in a path that fills you with meaning in every aspect of your life and more now than a year ago? Are you happier now than you were a year ago? Are you happier now than you were 5 years old? For most people, you would think the more that you do something, the better at it you would get. And that's true of most people in business and playing the violin or any other skills that we learn. For most people, it's not true about being happy and about navigating life's ups and downs. But people have been having this conversation for 5,000 years. The answers are out there. And uh, really, please find me at Nerve, find me in
Mhm.
Atlantic City. Anyone who's listening to this is
Yeah.
what I live for. This is what I was born for. I would love to talk to you.
Love it. Well, real quick, tell us for our VIP ticket holders, tell us more about your pre-event amped up coaching that they're going to get.
Yeah. So in signing up for the pre-event amped up coaching, you will get access to my Find Your Personal Why online course. It's a video course that has everything that you need in order to find your personal why, the intersection of how you feel compelled to show up and contribute to the world with the impact that you seek that makes everything feel it's the way it should be. There's many definitions of purpose. I like this one best because it's such a useful guide to answering these questions about what we should be doing with our lives. In addition to the video course, I'll be hosting 4 live group coaching sessions. You're welcome to attend any one, two, three, or 4 of those. Um, I'll answer all of your questions, and you will leave those sessions with a very clear why statement, very clear purpose statement that it's a guide to living your life. We feel guilt, we feel doubt when we're out of alignment with who we are as human beings.
Mhm.
We're taught in school and as entrepreneurs to use analytical logic to solve the world's problems. Analytical logic is an incredibly powerful tool if you want to build a bridge, if you want to run a company. It's a terrible tool to make the big decisions about how to live your life.
Mhm.
I have a 15-year-old son. He's the light of my life. I tease him all the time that he's the worst investment I will ever make. I've spent thousands of hours. I spent thousands of hours just trying to make this kid laugh. How many hundreds of thousands of dollars have I spent giving him opportunities and lessons and all this stuff? I will never get that time and money back.
Yeah.
But to think of it as a to think of him to think of him as a failed investment is just looking at it wrong.
Yeah.
Why would you ever look at at a rainbow or a sunset? Or if you do, why don't you record it and play it back double speed so it's more efficient? Like everything that makes life worth living looks stupid through an analytical lens.
Uh,
To really know how to live your life, these are heart-based questions. They require heart-based tools. And the first of those is learning what is your purpose? What were you born for?
I love that. Well, Jonathan, I am super looking forward to your session at Nerve and the pre-event coaching sessions before that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, look him up, Jonathan Domsky. He will be in Atlantic City with us for Nerve 2025 in September. And I'll be bringing more behind the scenes with our speakers and sharing them with you here and on social media. So be sure to stay tuned in and follow us on all channels, EO Nerve. Tuning out. See you guys soon.
Can't wait. Expect to see you there, Ethan.
All right.